Hi everyone, welcome back to Metanoia. My name is Carrie Jane, and today I'm going to be doing a sort of review and comparison of two similar decks that I really like. And I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. I'm recording this the week before, but I plan on posting it around Thanksgiving, and the theme of the decks are going to be kind of related to the holiday. So if you're in America, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. I hope you are spending time with your family. I'm hoping that getting into the flow of gratitude is easy for you this week. I have to say that it's been a very busy time. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make this video, but I'm doing the best I can to get all these videos out to you, even though things are hectic and things are moving very fast now, especially because of our 5 global month that we're in, and it always gets fast. It always gets faster this time of the year as we approach the new year and we're busy. So, despite that, I hope you have the time to watch and enjoy this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Happy Thanksgiving. And this is my 99th video. The next video that I make will be my 100th video, which is going to be a Q&A. So ask me your questions. Watch my video that I made on Ask Me Your Questions, and this can be about myself or Metanoia, and this is your chance to, ask me whatever has been on your mind while watching my channel over the years. And I think that's all I have to say. Let's get to the topic of this video. Recently, I discovered 2 decks that I was drawn to, and I didn't know which one to get, so I ended up just getting both and decided that I would kind of look at them both with you guys, express my opinion on them, so on and so forth. And this is going to be an interesting video because both of these decks have amazing imagery. I have some artwork that I also want to share with you on the side. And, I really wanted to make this video around Thanksgiving too because of the theme of Native Americans. And if you're in America and you grew up here learning about Thanksgiving, we were kind of told a false story. We were told a very pretty story that the Native Americans and the colonies here from Europe were buddies. They got along, and on Thanksgiving they came together and worked together and had this great meal and stuff. But unfortunately, we all know that didn't happen. And much like the movement on Columbus Day to make it Indigenous Culture Day, I think that this is a great opportunity to also pay respect to Indigenous cultures. And I've always had a very strong interest in Indigenous cultures. That's really the only part of history that I ever liked, which unfortunately was only 4th grade. In 4th grade we learned about, the Native Americans where I grew up, and that's the only time I really enjoyed history. The rest of it is just kind of like, it's just repetitive, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we get it. White people killed everyone, and then that, greed over and over again, and war over and over again. It's just exhausting and repetitive. But I always had this pull towards Indigenous cultures, and I think that is because of this awareness that we all know too, that a lot was lost. There's a lot of wisdom that we lost when we killed off these people. There's a lot of knowledge about the human race that we have lost because we not only killed all these people, we destroyed their entire culture as best as we could. And recently I've been reading Graham Hancock's work, and in one of his books he talks about how, the Spaniards came over in South America, and that's exactly what they did. Not only did they murder everyone, but they took all of their artifacts and destroyed them all. It's insane. And so I think that there's just this pervading interest in this never-ending pull, this gravity I have towards these cultures, because I feel like deep within them somewhere there's something that we don't know, and there's something that would help the human race and help us understand ourselves and go back to what we're meant to be. So that was kind of unrelated to decks, but related to the theme of these decks at least. And let me know what you have to say about that topic. And before I get into the decks, I just want to share with you this reading that I had semi-recently with Lauren Kenny, and I made a video on her soul activation cards on my channel, and you can find that in my Oracle deck playlist as well. And yeah, she was so nice. I gave her a free numerology reading, and she channeled this guy for me as one of my spirit guides, and I was very happy, as you will now understand, to get this guy. She said he was Peruvian, or South American, Native American. So yeah, if you are into spirituality, I mean, indigenous cultures may not be your thing, but I would find it hard to believe that most people watching this video would not appreciate this at all. So, yeah, I think I'm done with my intro. Let's get to the cards now. So I'd like to begin with the Shamanic Medicine Oracle, and I'll begin with showing you the cards. Very good cardstock, beautiful back artwork, beautiful deep artwork in general. In fact, I think this is my favorite artwork, opposed to the Earth Warriors Oracle, which we will soon see. It was very, very easy for me to just pick up this deck and get started with it because of the deep imagery and because of the great keywords. Upper world. It's just stunning. Yeah, that's the best descriptive word I have for this imagery. The artist did a very, very good job. Now I'll soon talk about what the other deck does better, but for now, let's just kind of keep it on the Shamanic Medicine Oracle. The only thing that I was disappointed with this deck, this says Medicine Wheel, continuation. The only thing I was disappointed with this deck was the guidebook. And I think that is because the artwork is so captivating and so surreal. Not surreal, that's not the right word for that. It's just deep. It's a very deep, captivating type of deck where you look at a page and it's easy to get lost in it, even though the artwork itself is quite simple. There is a lot. Look how beautiful that card is. This is my favorite card in the whole deck. And on a side note, it recently has occurred to me that some of my viewers are and could be blind, and I have been thinking about this for a long time, and it has really bothered me because I realized I was not talking about anything in my videos in such a way that was like descriptive enough to understand what's happening. It's, if you're deaf, it's a little bit easier to get some accessibility, I think, because you can get closed captions on most videos, I think. But with you're blind, I mean, and you're trying to watch a video, you just only have the audio, obviously. So I'm going to do the best I can to remember to be a little bit more descriptive in my videos. And this is a picture of a lion's face. The whole card is the lion's face. You don't even see the mane. There's no like border showing where the face ends and starts, and on the lion's face is this beautiful blue butterfly. And the keyword for this card is great mystery and trust. So this is my favorite card in the deck. This next card, Dreamweaver, accessibility. If you were thinking about buying this deck, I highly recommend it. This would be good for a beginner too, I think, not just someone who has been doing this for a long time. This card says death and transmigration, and it is a person kind of standing with open arms towards this spiral of light. And on the edges, it's very dark blue, and the light itself is this brilliant white light. Crystals. It's an image of crystals, and this deck, there's a lot of it's more like a Navajo kind of feel. It's more, west, midwest, southwest type of Native American culture feel to it. I live in the Northeast, so there's similar themes and imagery, but the particular feel of this deck is more like you're in the desert, you're in Arizona somewhere, you're in New Mexico somewhere, you're in Nevada somewhere. This card says Lodge and Council, and this is the card I was actually drawn to today. It feels safe and secure and homey. Conch shell, calling. Yeah, this is one of the best artwork I think I've ever had on this channel. Sorry about my dog. He's freaking out because he just saw another dog. Buried in the Earth, Transference. And this is a very interesting picture because there's like a person in the ground. There is like a straw apparatus in their mouth going out of the ground for them to breathe, and on the top of the ground there's people kind of communing. There's someone with a drum. And so the imagery leaves a lot to interpret, and it has a sort of feeling to it that can take you to a different kind of place in your daily messages and potentially in your understanding of these cultures. Hopefully, if you're in meditation, if you like to meditate, it will be easier to stay in tune with the wisdom of these cultures and maybe even uncover some things, Nothing is ever truly lost. Truly lost. I mean, on a superficial level, most things are lost, unfortunately. But if you go deeper, you find out you can never really get rid of these insights, You can never really get rid of love. You can never really get rid of the hard work that humans have done to make a difference in this world. And the card that I'm holding up now is Air and Creativity. And this is also one of my favorite cards in this deck. Continuing on, the next card is Altar, Honoring. And this is a beautiful depiction filled with like brilliant gold table with some like heads on the table, not real heads, but like statue heads, and a skull with antlers, like a deer head, so to speak. Although the skull itself looks more like another animal that I'm forgetting the name of. And that is displayed above the table, and behind the table are woods. And there's so many layers to this artwork. It's just really beautiful. Get this deck. What are you doing? Just get this deck. Plant Medicine, Truth. I'm not going to show all the cards because, as I normally express in my channel, I kind of like to leave a surprise, if possible. Offerings, Wealth. This card is interesting because it has a picture of, what you would expect as offerings, like food and pottery and stuff, but also there's like this, how do I explain this? This kind of in the forefront of the image thing, like circles that kind of look like rain, dispersed randomly throughout the image. And you can't see in the picture, but it's this circle with a line going through it, but it's made out of a lot of dots. And on the bottom of the circle is a hoop of dots, and then a white kind of circle underneath. And it's kind of like a sacred geometry sort of symbol. Just the artwork is epic. Water, expression. If you have an altar, you need this deck. That's all I'm gonna say. Flute, expression. I've seen this card a lot on people's Instagram. It's a guy playing a flute, and throughout all these cards is this like beautiful dotted artwork. I forget the style of artwork that is called. I took an art class once where we had to paint a painting but just use a Q-tip. So it was composed of a bunch of tiny little dots. Kind of reminds me like that. Fire. This card, this doesn't remind me of indigenous cultures or native peoples. This looks like a white girl. I'm just gonna say it like that. This person does not look like, this person looks like me, you know? And I'm as white as it gets. So, like if I were 100 pounds thinner and was like maybe brunette, that's what I'd probably look like. So, yeah, I don't know. This card's not my favorite, but it's a good interpretation of fire and passion, that's for sure. Feathers, restoration. And I'll do two more. Medicine bag, treasure. It's a bag of seashells and such. Brown, tan tones in the imagery. Lower world. Past. And there's this creature that kind of looks like a bird on the bottom, and what looks to be kind of like gnarled tree roots in a cave on the top. Okay. So yeah, that was the Shamanic Medicine deck. And as I said in the beginning, there's just something about the guidebook that I was disappointed with. And like I already said, I think it's because the cards are so in-depth, but the messages felt generic in comparison. And when it comes to the Earth Warriors Oracle deck, it's a different story. It's actually the opposites. I feel as though the imagery from card to card is more or less the same, but the deck, which is, I believe, written by Alana Fairchild, and I love all of her decks. She is, in my opinion, the best author of any Oracle deck I've ever picked up. The Oracle deck is amazing. And one thing that you should know about an Alana Fairchild deck, if you don't have any of her decks, is that they're kind of intensive. It's almost like taking a little mini course. It is not something that you pull a card or a few cards and you get this, kind of short message and this daily dose of something. It's more like you have an hour to spare to sit with yourself, to maybe do a mini meditation, get your journal out, sit with the message, read her words, which go very, very in depth. And honestly, not just this deck, but any deck that you pick up of hers. And so that's what you're getting into when you pick up an Alana Fairchild deck, is kind of, it's not going to be something that's quick and easy, okay? It's going to be something that challenges you. And that, I think, is why someone like Doreen Virtue becomes a lot more popular and a lot more mainstream than Alana Fairchild. And that's because Alana Fairchild is very deep. You read her words, she has a lot to say. She has very deep things to say that require work on your behalf, to some extent, depending on who you are, and depending what cards you pull, and depending what message you're actually meant to receive, and what work you're supposed to do. But it's still work, whereas a Doreen Virtue book, it's not really like that. It's just all feel good, here's a quick message, everything is going great, and don't think about anything kind of thing. And a lot of people are gonna hate that, what I just said, but that's just my opinion, and that's the feeling that I get off of those decks. And yeah, it's really interesting to see, what had happened with Doreen Virtue in retrospect, because I always felt that way. I think I already said this in another video, but I used to work in a store where I had to sell decks, and so because I had to sell all these metaphysical things, I really wanted to become acquainted with them, to know how to recommend stuff. And I tried and I tried and I tried, but I could never get into Doreen Virtue decks. And then sure enough, soon after that, she just did a complete 180, said, what she's been saying her whole life is actually not true, and just, became dogmatic in religion. So, just something to think about. Be careful, because the commodification of spirituality is very real, as I've said in my previous videos. And I don't get that feeling at all with Alana Fairchild, so I recommend any deck by her. And the thing that I love about this deck is that it's teaching me a lot. This, to me, is an educational deck, because it's not just about, North American kind of culture like that deck was. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I'm sure all cultures around the world could relate and be involved with the words in that deck, what it had to say, but still the artwork, the style of it was very Navajo, like I said. This deck is different. I'll pull a card and I'm in India, and then I'll pull another card and I'm in Hawaii, and so on and so forth. So almost all of the cards in this deck I've never heard of before. And also I can't pronounce it. So, Shakana, I think is what this says. And it says, time to cross the threshold. And so this is what you're working with here. Lots of bright colors, a lot of stuff going on in the cards. They all kind of look the same though. And yeah, like I said, I'm using this deck as an educational deck because Aloha Keakua, which is, there's a song written about this. Look it up. It's very good. This is a Hawaiian thing, I know. But yeah, like I said, I'll pull a card and I'll be like, well, I've never heard of that before. And not only will I read the guidebook, but I'll look it up online. I will read about it. So I'll learn about, what others have to say about it, and, the history of it. And, it's all just very interesting to me, is what I have to say about that. This card says Padma Sundari. Out of darkness, the light is born. Another thing that I prefer and love from this deck is the Earth Warrior angle with it. Of course, if you're an Earth Warrior, you're going to relate to shamanism, you're going to relate to most oracle decks, but this, it's a very strong stance to take. It's a very, very useful tool for us to have, because that is what we are. If you are challenging yourself, if you're challenging society and doing so by working on yourself, by saying no to cultural norms that should not be norms, by just living our lives as humans, which is so difficult. We are Earth warriors, you know? So just thank you so much, Alana Fairchild, for representing us, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I love about this deck the most. Let's show you some more cards. We have a lot of cards left here. So some of these cards are sideways too. 26 Amaru. I'm assuming is how that's pronounced. The Beautiful Place. And I considered reading from the guidebook for you guys, but I think I'll just do that at the end when I pull a card from each side, and you'll get a sense of what that's like when I do that. This is Kaitiaki. I'm so sorry for murdering all these words. Like I said, I don't know any of these things. I don't know all these people in these decks. I don't know all these deities and, you know, representations. So this is a learning experience for me. This is Guardian of Papa Tuanuku, I think. Bear with me, everyone. Pueo? This woman is depicted with two owls on both sides of her. Her eyes are closed. She has beautiful earrings. The keyword also is Guardian of the Aumakua. See, I have no idea what that is, and I wouldn't have known if I had not, you know, pulled this card eventually and read the book and looked it up online. So that is really the kind of deck I prefer. It's something that will introduce me to something that I couldn't really find on my own very easily. And Alana Fairchild is doing a service in that way as well for all of us. Okay, so this one I think says Totemic Puma. Power Awakening. I love me some big cats. I love their energy. Astana Telehi. Turquoise Changing Woman. This is a very powerful deck. Hozo. I have no idea how to pronounce it. My first instinct was Hotzo, but I really have no idea. It is HO''ZHO. The Beauty Way of the Navajo. Beautiful, beautiful card. And these, by the way, the backings of these cards is just a deep, rich purple, and it's very simple, as I think is appropriate because there's a lot more going on in the front. So I think that was appropriate. Power of Good on Ajna Durga, which I think is Hinduism. Someone just correct me in the comments. If you have the patience, write a long list of how you actually pronounce things and what things are. So yeah, that's good. Kente, Sweet Paradox of Empowering Grace. So get this deck too. Do what I did. Pono Pono, Immeasurable Power of the Heart Way. And I don't know what that is, but it kind of sounds Hawaiian. Okay, I'm going to pull one more here. Panthera, the Precious and Rare. And this is, again, a lot going on. A woman, a butterfly, a jaguar. There's some mountains in the background. There's a sunrise or sunset and a moon and sacred geometry. There's so much color. There's just so much going on. There's a lot going on. And the artist did an amazing job on this as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is pull a card from each deck for you guys, and I will be right back with your cards and your messages, so stay tuned. Okay, so you guys got 3 cards from the Shamanic Medicine Oracle and 1 card from the Earth Warriors Oracle. And what I'm going to do is kind of do a combined message, but only read 1 card from the guidebook just so that you get a sense of what the guidebook is, because I don't want this video to be too long. But you got Hearing Truth, Dadiri, from the Earth Warriors deck. And then you got Trickster, Challenge, Shapeshifter, Perspective, and Ancestors, Wisdom, from the Shamanic Medicine Oracle. So, first, a lot about hearing truth, and then we get this combined message of having perspective, wisdom, and being approached with a challenge. Especially, I was drawn to the Trickster card. I think that these 3 cards are really illuminating the message about hearing truth, because we need to be more careful. I think we need to be more careful about what we are kind of like digesting, whether that be the music that we're listening to, the YouTube videos that we're watching, the books that we're reading, because there are illusions upon illusions, and unfortunately, because of this world that we live in, spirituality, topics of spirituality are not immune to these challenges of the human race distorting things. You know, these decks are about our ancestors. Where is the truth in that? Will we know if someone is just claiming something to be true based on no solid ground and just selling it to us? You know, what perspective are we taking that will help us work through hearing truth? You know, are we gaining our wisdom through meditation? Are we sitting with ourselves and asking the big questions and doing the work, or are we just taking things at face value? I don't know. But I would like to read the guidebook now. First I'm going to start with Dadiri 21. Okay, and this says, hearing truth. And this is very long and wordy, so bear with me. There is a deeper truth that shall bring peace to your heart, offering you guidance, comfort, and renewal. You are guided to turn within for your answers. Do not allow another to interpret, influence, or distort. Keyword there, I think, is distort, especially with these surrounding cards. Distort your personal, trusting relationship with the divine. Your relationship with the divine is your relationship with the divine. No one in the world can tell you who you're meant to be with your life. I believe in the concept of twin flames, but if you're honestly with your twin flame, your other half, you're probably not even human anymore. You've probably ascended this plane and are on some crazy track of life that you got to based on doing this really hard work as a human being. You're probably not even here anymore, you know? You're probably, it's just, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so bear with me. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting the message. I'm trying to illustrate how this guidebook works. But anyway, this says here, do not allow others to interpret, influence, or distort your personal trusting relationship with the divine. Allow Great Spirit to be your highest counsel always, and you shall never be led astray. You shall know the words to speak and the consciousness to hold to evoke healing and set things right. Listen, for deep within, truth is known. So the answers are within yourself. You can access that at any time. Inner reading, it says, focus on what you know to be true by tuning into what you feel and not focusing on the appearances or the opinions of others. There is a voice of spirit deep within you Anytime you want or need guidance, you have the ability to tune into that inner voice, bringing peace, comfort, and clarity. It takes courage to turn within, rather than putting your faith in the people and things of this world. But you have enough inner strength and wisdom to do this. The truth within has been spoken. Trust that you can hear it. Spiritual guidance. You have an intuitive ability to recognize truths of the spirit. Dadiri is an Australian Aboriginal term for the deep spiritual practice of reflective and respectful listening. It is a deep listening for truth beyond physical words and their logical meaning. It is the way the shaman hears, with the soul. Through the power of his or her own inner experiences, the shaman is able to create spiritual wisdom for the community, bringing balance and unity between the realm of Great Spirit and our earth. As one who holds the potential power of the shaman, it is part of your soul journey to seek out deeper meaning, to never assume that the whole truth is revealed in what another says, and instead to listen carefully, sometimes even for the truth evidenced in what is not being said, but being communicated, in other ways. So this is saying read between the lines. If you're a true empath, you're going to be able to pick up on this kind of stuff. Being an empath doesn't just mean being sensitive and, being, react. If, for example, if someone else feels sick, you feel sick. It's not just that. It's hard to take advantage of a true empath, because if you are open to the possibility of someone not being what they are, which unfortunately is most people, I've always said I do not listen to what people say, I watch what they do. If you are open to that and you're an empath, you're going to be able to tell when there's something off about what someone said or who they're presenting themselves as. And it's not because that person is evil. It's not because people are bad and people are good. It's because the human condition is a disability, and we have to be awake to this. We have to be awake to the tricksters and the distortions that have taken place because of tricksters, that others who have taken on, who were doing what they thought was best, but unfortunately was not. So I think that is what that's saying, is just basically be able to read between the lines. You have that capacity and use it. It says, others will naturally be drawn to you for counsel, but you must be sure that loving wisdom is the source through which your counsel is gleaned. Part of the shamanic life path involves mastery over the extremes of existence. Energetic highs followed by crushing fatigue, feeling taxed beyond your limits of body and mind, perhaps even an experience of near death or symbolic death of the personality, a profound challenging illness in body or mind, or a period of spiritual darkness, which eventually leads you to a healing rebirth. These are all possible ways that the shamanic soul can progress through its training. Such challenges are a form of initiation, teaching the soul to become able to consciously contain and channel energy according to its will. Rather than be tossed about by the forces of the world, it takes time, but eventually the soul learns to live from a place of inner balance and spiritual grounding. The shaman is empowered to give others through what has been mastered, moderating and containing what is required for healing. This evokes balance in the lives of those they touch. Believe it or not, there's more, but I'm going to stop there. I think you get the picture of the guidebook. I think you get the picture of what this card is telling us. And that was just, do you see what I mean? Like, there's no more perfect way that you could have explained that in words. So there's that. There's Alana Fairchild. I think that I will read Trickster from the Shamanic Medicine Guidebook now. We'll see what these guys have to say about that. It's time to recognize a great imbalance in the way you live, which can no longer be sustained. Your barriers need to come down and you must relinquish control. Trickster leads you to an unfamiliar world. Embrace it. Change your perspective, some of which stems from your upbringing and others' expectations and opinions. Forget what you deem as right or wrong. The apparent chaos around you is some of your greatest teachings and experiences, if you choose to see it as such. How else can you grow and evolve? Whoever or whatever pushes your buttons is merely a reflection of what you need to release. Be assured that once the lesson is realized, it will affect you no more and will never present itself again. So let Trickster lead you on an unpredictable and merry dance. Be light of heart, ask questions that no one else would dare to, and see the humor within each situation until you recognize the path you walk is never certain. You will have fun along the way with the medicine of the trickster as your companion. It also says trickster revealed. The trickster takes many forms, male or female, god or goddess, spirit or animal. They're all wise and skilled in self-willed behaviors. The trickster pushes people's boundaries to test whether they run or stay the course. We learn from the unexpected experiences and teachings the trickster brings. Sadly, this purpose and meaning has been lost in modern times, where the trickster are often depicted as a fool, clown, or comic. So that was a really good message of the trickster, just standing alone without the surrounding cards. That is a card that would be really useful in my life. Despite expressing a disinterest in the guidebook, I thought that was a very good message for this card standing alone. But please let me know what you thought about this message. Let's not forget that we also had ancestors and shapeshifters. And I wish I had time to read from the guidebook from you guys, but I'm looking at the clock and I have just enough time to stop this video, edit it, and get it out to you guys for next week. So I'm really glad that I had the time to do this at all. It's only 1:40 in the afternoon, but my day has just begun, so I'm sure you guys can all relate with your families and with your jobs and the holiday season, and it's exciting, it's good that we have things to do. I think that's, it's easy to get bogged down by our to-do lists and feel overwhelmed, but when that happens to me, I like to actually move a little bit slower so that I can see things unfold in such a way and be able to control it a little bit more. So that's that's my random 2 cents on the holiday season for you guys. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Again, ask me your questions for my next video, my Q&A video. And yeah, I hope you're all having a lovely week. If you want to follow me on social media, visit the description in all of my videos, and that is how you can schedule a numerology reading with me as well. If you have been watching my numerology series and are thinking about doing that. So yeah, I'll see you all very soon. Happy Thanksgiving again, happy holidays, and take care.